Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Come on, shine. And in this video, I came up with a very important topic novel, an interesting novel that is Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. But before going to the novel, I'd like you to subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon by which you would be updated whatever I'll upload on my channel. So before any delaying, let's get it started. First of all, the introduction part. So, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is written by American writer Mark Twain. It was published in 1884 in England and 1885 in US. The setting of this novel is in the southern part of America around Mississippi River, and it is written in the first person point of view. But before going to the topic, I would like to reveal one more thing about this novel here, that before publishing this work, Mark Twain has published one more novel named Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And in that novel, there was a character named Tom. He was the main character also, and his friend's name was Huckleberry in that novel. And that Huckleberry is the main character of this novel, which we are going to learn today. Now come to the story. So the story begins at the St. Petersburg, and we will call this main character Huckleberry Finn as Huck, and his friend's name is Tom Sawyer. Actually, Huck's father is drunker, so he lives with widow Douglas and her namesake sister Miss Watson. And their behavior with Huckleberry Finn is very bad, and they were making him civilized. Actually, Huck stays with them because Tom says this. He says that if you want to join my gang, then you have to be civilized. But gradually, Huck starts to be comfortable to stay with them. He starts enjoying this civilized life. But then the twist came into the story that his drunkard father, named Pap, kidnaps him and took him to the Mississippi River in a small hut. And there he was treating him like a prisoner. Whenever he goes outside to drink, he just locks up the door from outside, and whenever he comes, he beats Huck very brutally, almost to death. Then Huck decides to flee from here. So, for this, what he did? He killed a pig and spreads its blood around his body and his clothes and lay down on the floor. And when Pap arrived, he thought that Huck is now dead and he went somewhere else. After that, Huck gets up and he took a small boat from there and sailed to the Jackson Island. Remember Jackson Island? And there he met a black man named Jim, who was once working for Miss Watson. One day, he heard that Miss Watson is about to sell Jim to someone else. So that Jim fled from there, and now Jim and Huck met at this Jackson Island, and they started staying together on that Jackson Island itself. And now, what's happened? That one day a hurricane hit the island so much, means heavily, and a raft appeared to them, and they saw a hut also. A hut also coming in the flow of water. And in that hut, there was a dead body also, which they didn't even see the face of that dead body. And from this hut, they steal clothes and something to eat. Huckleberry gets a woman attire, and they moved to a town with that raft. In that town, they received an information that slave hunters are searching for Jim and more slaves like him. After knowing this, they immediately moved to the Free State. But suddenly, the weather transformed and fog appeared in front of them. And they forgot the way of that Free State. When the fog disappeared, they met some men. They were actually slave hunters. Those men were slave hunters. Then what did they do? Jim laid down on that raft itself And Huck told to those men, that he is my father suffering from pox, smallpox. By knowing this, they scared and gave some money to Huck and told them to go away from here. But unfortunately, their raft collided with a steamboat next night and their raft broke down totally. And both friends, Huck and Jim, flowed apart from each other. And Huck reached to a house where the Granger Fords family was living. They actually kept Huck with them, but this family has an enemy with another family named Shepherdson. Actually, this enemy was like to kill each other. They were thirsty for each other's blood. Then what happens? When Huck came to know that Jim is also staying nearby this area, then he leaves this family and went to meet Jim. After that, they again started their journey together. They were happy that they met again. They met again. And during this journey, one day, they met two men again. They told their name that Duke and King. Actually, they were ruffians. Huck and Jim helps Duke and King, but they stole their raft and ran away. On the way, they came to know that, Duke and King came to know that a Peter named person has died in nearby village, and it was assuming that his brother will come to inherit his property. Then Duke and King took the benefit of this information. Then what King and Duke did? They became Peter's fake brother and went to the village. Villagers gave them so much respect, but back of their mind, they had a doubt that Duke and King are not the real brothers of Peter. Meanwhile, Huck and Jim also appeared in the village and they tried to expose Duke and King. But on the moment, Peter's real brother came there, and Duke and King automatically exposed in front of the villagers and they ran away from there. Now, Huck and Jim took back their raft, but on the other side, for taking revenge from Huck and Jim, Duke and King sold Jim to a local farmer as Jim was a slave. By saying that Jim is a runaway slave on whom some amount is to be given. For saving Jim, Huck went to the farm and there he met a lady named Aunt Sally. Huck recognized her because she was the relative of Tom Sawyer. Then Tom promises to Huck that he will help him for freeing Jim. So one night, Huck, Tom and Jim escaping from the farm. But soon 3 men started following them and started firing on them. Unfortunately, one bullet hits Tom's leg. By watching this, Jim sacrificed his freedom and stays there with Tom. Jim has sacrificed his freedom. If he wanted, he could run away from there, but he sacrificed it and he stayed with Tom until Huck brings a doctor. Jim was caught and again became a slave. But don't worry. As I told before, Jim was working for Miss Watson, and Miss Watson has written on her bill that after her death, Jim will be free. And Tom said that 2 months before, Jim Watson has died. And finally, Jim was free. And Jim said to Huck that the dead body you found in the hut, it was his father's dead body. Who was the father? Pap was the father of Huck. Means Huck's father also died. And he has also got his $6,000 from the judge, Thatcher, for exposing gold found in robbery, which was explained in Mark Twain's previous novel, Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Now all problems have been solved, but again Huck had a fear that what if he had to go to Aunt Douglas again for being civilized? Then at the end of the novel, Huck decides to go to the west for continuing his adventures, and that's the end of the novel. So, guys, basically this novel was based on Huck adventures. Obviously this was the adventure, and Jim was the slave, and Huck helped him. Huck helped Jim to save his life, to make him free, to give him freedom. So this was the end, and Jim finally got his freedom. And I hope you liked this video, this novel. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and hit the bell icon. I will meet you in my next video. Till then, keep loving literature and goodbye.